Good morning. I'm going to try to show you what we do for our timeline. So I have never actually done the Book of Centuries. We have only ever done the timeline. And a friend of mine gave me 2 copies of the Sunlight Book of Time when my boys were little. They had done a couple of entries in it and decided it wasn't for them. And so I just took it and used it for my own kids. And so some of the entries in here are, like this. That is not my son's writing whatsoever. That's much neater. And then like these stickers that came from History in the Woods, I think. I don't know, I'll have to check. But these were all ones that my friend's kid had entered in here. But my boys just do entries like this. Tolkien being born, very important. We typically do this on a Friday. I have them, my requirement for them is to enter 3 entries on a Friday. And so that is what they do. And, some weeks we miss it, and that's okay. I do not make them do 6 the following week. I just, 3 each Friday, and if we miss it, we miss it. And that's what they do. I don't know. I just saw a little drawing. That was my son. What is that one? I'm not exactly sure. Maybe Teddy Roosevelt's birth? I don't know. I don't know why he didn't write what it was. Typically he does. Like, over here. He had a death, and I don't know what the book is. And then, here was the drawing I saw. Helen Keller. So I actually kind of thought that my boys would want a new book, because they have had this book since they were really little. So this is Judah's book, and he's entering 8th grade, and I think we started this maybe in 3rd grade. Now, back when we started, it was not a frequently updated book. It's just in the last 2 years I've had them updated more frequently. But so I thought he'd want a nicer book, and I'll show you my book. This black one over here is mine. I'll show you that in a second. But I thought they'd want it updated, just now that they can draw better and they can write better and all that. But they're actually quite attached to this book, and so I'm totally fine with them keeping this book and using this book. If they want to update it at some point, then they can do that. But for now, this is, they're really happy with it, and so that's totally fine with me. Wesley's is, like I said, identical to this book. So it's kind of fun because they've entered in entries that were significant to them. Like, we love the City Museum in St. Louis, and so, he has that down in there, an entry about the City Museum. And then he has when Paul and I were married and when they were born, that's on there. And then, because this really only goes to 2010, on the last page of the book and then the back of the book, they've extended the timeline to go on, and it's been really fun to enter in entries into the book that are current. So in 2017 we went to visit Notre Dame, so they entered that, and then the burning of Notre Dame, and then the coronavirus. Those are all things that have been entered in the book in the last couple of years that are current events that are current. All right, now I will show you my book. I just got the large. You can see it's the same. Sorry, it's hard to video and hold the phone still. It's the same size, which is like 8.5 by 11, maybe a little. I think it's 8.5 by 11, and it's a hard cover, and it's one of the moleskin books. I don't think it says which one it is, but it's all grid on the inside. And so I have gone through, I started with the 7 Days of Creation, and my book has a lot more drawings in it. And so I have drawn that, and then just kind of the beginning of what Scripture tells us with eating the forbidden fruit and being kicked out of the garden. This is Cain and Abel, hasn't been colored in. Murder, Noah's Ark, and yeah, so then it starts in, this was, that. And there are just a variety of entries I've put. I try to color them in. I just like the look of it better. And I put their name. I'm not sure that there's many in here. I haven't done a whole lot in here. Some of them aren't colored in yet. But I try to sit down with the boys and do my own entries each week as well. And I've been doing it, I don't know how long I've been doing it for. A number of years I've been doing this, and it has been so much fun. I really enjoy doing this, and I too have, I have the burning and I have the virus. That was entered in my book. And oh yeah, see, I have the City Museum as well. I entered that in my own book. And you know, it's been a fun thing to track and do, and some of them I'll put down what they were, like Robert Frost, the poet. Sometimes I haven't written down what they are, but I'm trying to get better at doing it. Like over here you can see I wrote a little description about Fred Castle, and yeah, that is basically what I do. And I typically, so when we sit down to sorry, there we go. When we sit down, sorry, there's a big truck going by. When I sit down to do these, or when we sit down to do these on a Friday, we bring in our books from the week, things we've read, and we pick from our weekly reading something that we want to enter in, and then we Google an image typically. If we don't have an image from our book, we will Google something and we will copy that, or if our book has one, we'll do that, or you know, if we already have a strong idea of what it could look like, we will just do it from our memory. But typically, like, we copy an image that we've seen. So yeah, that would be our books. This, I don't really use the pocket in the back, but this is what I really wanted to move my boys into, the big moleskin grid book. But like I said, they're very happy with using what they've already had and been working on for years, and so I'm happy for them to have that choice. My younger one, his book is missing its cover, so it just, you know, it looks like this. Yeah, it's super simple. We are not doing a book of centuries. I keep going back and forth trying to decide if I should or if I shouldn't. I've kind of settled on we do this, and we do this well. And I mean, you know, relatively speaking, we do it well. We're consistent. And I don't know that I want to add another book. But I may. I don't know. I need to be convinced why I should do it. And I'm not convinced yet, even though I see all the good reasons for doing it. But anyway, I just wanted to share about how we are doing our timeline in a book.